Hello everyone, I am Vyas Srinivasan and welcome to the Bright Colors of Inspiration. I would like to take a moment to thank you all for supporting me and my podcast. Your support is what motivates me to keep going. The topic for this episode is all about friendships, particularly long-term friendships. Establishing meaningful and enduring friendships can be challenging, especially as we are in the process of figuring out who we are and our own values. There is an amazing podcast that I listened to about building close friendships by Mel Robbins, and I could very much relate to what she discussed. With that in mind, I want to share some of the lies that I was told about friendship. Number 1. The more friends we have, the better. This is a very popular lie that we're told, and it makes us feel that we need to have a lot of friends to be happy and successful. Growing up, I would often be told by adult figures whom I really looked up to that I should make a lot of friends and that I should not be restricted to one friend group, which I do not think is wrong. The reason for being told that was that they wanted me to improve on my social skills and my ability to read body language and nonverbal cues, since that is something I really struggled with. By interacting with more and more of my peers, I would be able to develop those social skills needed to establish new friendships later on in life. When someone tells me that I should have more friends, I find that it is ideal to reframe it as networking with others. That way, I do not feel the pressure to have deep conversations with everyone or tell them about my own personal issues. Something that I have come to understand is that quality is way more important than quantity. I cannot be everywhere at once, which means I will not have time to hang out with everyone. And this is especially the case as we grow older and have more priorities and focus more on ourselves. I find that it is better to have a few genuine friends that I can count on that bring out the best in me, rather than a bunch of fake friends who make me feel that I am not good enough and that I do not measure up to society's standards. Number 2. Everyone's life is picture perfect. I know that many of us have the tendency to compare ourselves to others, whether it's on social media or in person. I may see pictures on social media of a group of friends who are hanging out together and going on what I think are awesome adventures. I may also see students in person participating in college Greek life, partying, and overall having the perfect social life. And all of this would cause me to think that there is something wrong if I am not doing any of these things. Seeing other people posting pictures with their friends online would make me question the quality of my friendships, which would make me expect a lot more from my own friends. The amount of photos I have of a certain friend in my photo library does not determine how strong a friendship is. So, one can have little to no photos of a friend in their Photos app, and the friendship can be super duper strong. And quite the opposite is true as well, where one may have a bunch of photos of the particular friend in their photo album, but they are just acquaintances and casual friends. Who knows? My friends who are going on these seemingly cool adventures with their group of friends may not like hanging out with them. Or my friends involved in college Greek life may not like the people they are surrounded with. Personally, I do like to take pictures when I hang out with my friends for memory purposes, regardless of whether or not I end up posting them online. The bottom line is that friendships should be built on mutual trust, shared values, and supporting one another through thick and thin. Number 3. All friendships last forever. I would believe that if I have known my group of friends for a very, very long time, that the friendships would ultimately end up lasting forever. A term that at least most of us have heard is BFF. What in the world does BFF stand for? Well, BFF stands for Best Friends Forever. And here is the issue with that. It puts a lot of unnecessary pressure on us to maintain a friendship even if we no longer feel the connection, which leads to a forced friendship. And it begins to feel like a chore to maintain the friendship. I find that we continue to stay friends with someone even though we know it is becoming one-sided, because we hope that it will end up working out with them in the end. But unfortunately, it doesn't end up happening that way in most cases. Back when I was in high school, I was surrounded by most of the same people since elementary school, which meant that I would see the same people every day. So I just assumed that those people would be in my life forever, especially since I knew them from elementary school. As time passes after graduating high school, I find that I have drifted apart from a lot of the people that I grew up with. This happens because as we grow, we learn who we are and our values. We pursue our interests, pick up new hobbies, and we form new friendships based on that. Instead of viewing BFF as best friends forever, it is better to view it as best friends are flexible. It makes it so that best friends can change with the levels of intensity. If we drift apart and outgrow them, that is absolutely okay. It's normal for people to drift apart from their friends, even childhood friends, at some point in time. Just because someone likes me now does not mean they will like me a few years down the road. It's not how long I have known someone that determines the quality of a friendship. It's about having mutual respect and trust for one another. Friendships that may seem long term at a given moment have the ability to change over time, which is why I am very keen on the idea of having flexible friendships. This proves that friendships are not always forever and that they can change over time. Only time will tell whether a friendship is meant to last or not. Number 4. Physical proximity and frequent contact are required to maintain a strong friendship. This is a lie that I have told myself, especially after graduating high school and moving on to college. It's a very common anxiety when ending one chapter of life and moving on to the next. I have observed that movies portray best friends as friends who hang out 24/7, which I do not think always works this way in real life. I was worried about what would happen to my close friendships when transitioning to the next phase of my life. But it turns out that I have experienced friendships that have strengthened over time, even though we took separate paths and have gone for a long period of time without communicating. With that, I realize that they are not my friends because we attended the same school or had a class together. They are my friends because of all the fun times and memories we had together. There would be a period of time in which we don't contact each other. But when we do, we're able to interact as if we just talked 1 hour ago. On the contrary, I have found that there are people with whom we are close to in terms of physical proximity, but they are just mere acquaintances where the bond is nowhere near as strong as the bonds with the friends who are physically further away. For instance, I can physically be in the same lecture hall as hundreds of other students, but I would not be friends with half, maybe even quarter, of the students in the room. And I am able to sit right next to someone, but they're just acquaintances. I've been able to maintain strong friendships, even after many months in which we did not communicate. I can pick up again, like I just talked with them not too long ago. Another thing I realize in long-term friendships is that the frequency of communication and how often we meet goes and flows, in which there's a period of time where I communicate with them very frequently, followed by a period of time with limited to no communication, and so forth. And there is nothing wrong with that. This shows that a strong friendship can thrive and become even stronger, regardless of location or how often we communicate. In other words, my best friends can be near or far, since I don't appreciate them for where they're at, I appreciate them for who they truly are. Number 5. We need to be everyone's friend. This is a lie that I have always told myself, considering I was very popular at my school growing up. I would consider everyone I talked to at school as my friend back in the day. But the truth is, not everyone I meet is my friend, nor do I need to be everyone's friend. The reason I would call everyone my friend is that I didn't want to hurt their feelings. Though the issue with that is, just like the term BFF, it puts a lot of extra pressure on me to maintain a particular connection, to be up to par with the friend label, even though I don't feel connected to them. I've learned that it is okay to use terms such as acquaintance, classmate, teammate, colleague, roommate, neighbor, and so on. I find that the older I get, the more strict my criteria is for friendships, especially when it comes to my inner circle. And this is because I am learning more and more about myself and what my values are, and maintaining and establishing new friendships based on that. No matter how amazing we are, not everyone is going to like us. And this is something I've had to come to terms with, which was really hard. But if I have the right to dislike some people, then others have the right to dislike me too. The people who don't like me don't matter, since I can prioritize the people who genuinely appreciate and value me. The bottom line is that it is absolutely okay if we do not have the same level of friendship with everyone, let alone be friends with them. Number 6. Friendships magically happen. To establish new friendships, it takes effort. I cannot just sit around on the couch and expect someone to knock on the front door. It takes me putting myself out there and talking to people. Some ways for us to put ourselves out there is to attend events and join clubs that are related to our interests. As I talk to more and more people, I find that friend whom I click with and get to know them. And once I do, I'm able to engage in deep conversations with them. I do not open up to them right away, and I give it at least a couple of months, since people whom I meet for the very first time usually put on a show. So I start by sharing more general things about my life, and slowly start sharing more as I become more comfortable. It's only a matter of time for me to realize someone's true colors. When I talk to people whom I get along very well with, I like to ask them open-ended questions about their life, rather than close-ended interrogative questions. So, instead of saying, "Did you like the event today?" say, "What were your thoughts on today's event?" Or, "What do you like about doing this activity?" To have deep conversations, I like to do it in a peaceful environment, free of distractions, where no one is around, so I can solely be immersed in the conversation. Places that would be great for deep conversations include an empty parking lot, a park where it's quiet, an outdoor seating area of a cafe or restaurant on a nice and bright sunny day. When I'm talking to my friends, I like to minimize distractions like incoming texts and phone calls, and put my phone on silent or do not disturb mode. I listen to what the other person is saying and remember what they told me. So, when I talk to them again a while later, I might say something like, I remember you telling me last time we hung out that so and so happened. Or, I remember last time that you had this goal. How has that been going? It's important for us to be our true authentic self, where we can express our true thoughts and feelings to each other. A lot of us, including myself, have a natural instinct, which would be to give advice when someone vents to us. Even if the advice is well intentioned, they may just want someone to vent to, and giving advice may aggravate the situation. So, I've learned to only give advice when they request it or ask them if they are looking for advice. This shows that it takes effort on both sides to build and maintain a friendship. There are 3 types of friendship. The first type of friendship is friendships for a reason. These are the friends that we have because we are in the same class together, or they are coworkers, and so forth. The second type of friendship is friendships for a season. These are the friends that we have for a certain chapter of our life, but then we eventually grow apart when that chapter has ended. The third type of friendship is friendships for a lifetime. These are the friends that remain strong regardless of what path life takes us, and the friendship spans through multiple life stages. Simply put, these are the friends that stand the test of time and distance. I am one of those people who would try to fit friendships that are meant to be for a reason or a season into friendships for a lifetime, and it did not go well. One of the things I've learned is that we shouldn't make friends with someone just because they have the potential to become the person who we want them to be. I'm guilty of this, since there were people whom I considered as my best friend when I was just an acquaintance to them. In this situation, I thought that since we shared the same interests, that we were capable of being best friends. However, they did not show interest in being best friends with me, and I was more of an acquaintance to them. I've also experienced the case in which peers would see me as their best friend, but I didn't feel that same connection with them. I eventually came to my senses that trying to make a one-sided friendship like this just does not work, and it backfires. On that note, a common saying that I've heard that applies to a wide variety of relationships in our life is, don't make someone a priority when all you are to them is just an option. But how can we tell whether or not we're only an option to them? Well, there are several telltale signs to figure out if we are only an option to someone. First off, they only reach out if they need or want something from us. So, they'll be wanting favors, but they don't genuinely care about how we're doing. Second, we feel the need to change ourselves just to impress them. So, we end up doing things like changing how we look and getting into activities that do not line up with who we are. Third, we're burned out and tired after talking to them. So we end up finding ourselves feeling worse after hanging out with them. Fourth, they will always cancel on us at the last minute. It's one thing if it happens once or twice, but it becomes problematic if it keeps happening repeatedly. The fifth and biggest sign of all that we're only an option is that we're the only one putting in time and energy and not getting anything in return. So, we're always initiating plans or conversations, but they keep saying they're busy and they'll not give that same energy back. Having common interests alone does not determine whether the friendship is capable of being strong. I think having similar morals and values are just as important, if not more, as having shared interests. I've met people whom we have a lot in common with in terms of our interests, but we have completely different morals and values. On the other hand, I have super strong friendships with those who share the same values as me, even though we have completely different interests. I think that it's really cool to have friendships like this because we can learn more about each other's interests and background. And who knows? We may end up really liking their passion and it may end up becoming one of our hobbies. As a multi-passionate individual, I like the idea of having different circles and communities for my different passions. This would mean having a fitness circle of friends, a tech circle of friends, a musical circle of friends, a motivational circle of friends, and so forth. I do not need to have a strong friendship with everyone in those communities, but I can learn from them so that I can improve in each area of my life. A reason as to why I think it's very important to have multiple friends with different interests is that, for instance, I may have a friend who is very much into technology and enjoys talking about it. But that same friend may not be down to discuss music. Here are some essential qualities to keep in mind when building long-lasting friendships. Number 1. Bring out the best in each other. After hanging out, they should leave us feeling uplifted and energized, not drained and worn down. Number 2, establish and maintain the friendship. Even as circumstances change and we go after our own goals, the friendship is able to withstand change. Number 3, show them how much we value them. This can be done by writing a card, sending them a kind text, and buying them a thoughtful gift. And how expensive the gift costs does not matter. Number 4, be honest while also having empathy and understanding. This would mean telling them things that are difficult to hear without compromising on support and understanding. Number 5, handle disagreements and conflicts that arise in a healthy way. No matter how strong a friendship is, there's always going to be disagreements and things will not be good all the time. It's important that any disagreement is resolved well and fills the gaps in misunderstandings. Number 6, accept each other's differences. It's important to accept one another for who they are, regardless of differences they have based on race, ethnicity, cultural background, social status, and so on. There is a piece of advice I found on Mel Robbins' social media page, which really summarizes what I talked about in this episode. People are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Stop trying to force people into the wrong category. I really like this message a lot because I believe that friendships should happen naturally and it should never, ever, 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 ever be forced. If my content inspires you with bright colors, feel free to pass it along to your family and friends. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have an amazing day.